is your version of serenading, darling.
This is me making my moves. My sexy moves.
Especially with that voice, babe. That is the most sexy voice I have ever heard you ever speak.
Have I ever told you that you're so pretty?
Oh, no, not this again. Every time he does an American accent and we have American guests on,
To be
and
fair, I
Paul
wasn't
isn't even
trying to be
American. Well, he is
American
now, but he's Canadian. He literally goes into a Texan accent. Actually, you know what you reminded me of?
What did it?
You know, glass onion.
Glass onion. Oh, yeah. Benoit Blanc. I tell you, I got a mystery. I'm Benoit Blanc.
Please, Alice, get a clip and put it in here.
Halle Berry, that has a kick.
This podcast isn't about Benoit Blanc. It's us interviewing the gorgeous, beautiful humans that are Matthew and Paul with 2 T's, Matthew with 2 T's.
Yes.
That's where you can find them, at Matthew and Paul, on most platforms. So please check the description or show notes of wherever you are listening to this podcast.
Yes.
It might be on YouTube. It may be on your preferred podcast platform of choice. I need to put my teeth in because I'm like... I can't quite get my words out, darling. But we had such a gorgeous chat,
Honestly,
didn't we?
they are so lovely. We did try to come up with a prank.
We did before we got on.
I am well impressed by them. Like,
they are so good.
So impressed. Just because, like, to come up with that many pranks.
Yeah, all of the time.
Like, I could not come up with one, and they are doing it almost daily.
FYI, they are also content creators like me and Ollie Bobs here.
They are
that
indeed.
do prank videos. So yeah, we delve into that in the podcast. But yeah, we are very impressed with them. We were like, before the podcast comes online, should we get Miss Molly with some headphones on and a little microphone and just be like, this is who's interviewing you. But then we were just like,
that doesn't exactly work for a podcast.
No, it doesn't really work for a podcast. So
the YouTube viewers would have had a great time, but like the rest of you guys.
And we were Googling, we were like, Zoom podcast pranks, but I don't know.
Yeah, we even spoke to the robot overlord.
Robot overlord?
Yeah, the robot overlord.
AI?
Yeah.
What did you ask AI?
For prank ideas.
I didn't know you typed into ChatGPT.
It didn't come up with anything good. So like...
AI, do better.
Like, it's fantastic, but its sense of humour needs a little bit of work.
Yeah, it does need a little bit. It's a bit, po-faced.
Well, that's it, guys. We're dying now in the robot overlord revolution.
We really do need to be better, give them a better rep. Otherwise,
first
we're
it's
going to be
coming for our jobs. It's coming for the artwork, and now.
Oh no, that is honestly Paul is such an amazing artist, and so is Matthew. He's a beautiful classical violinist, as well as being content creators. And whenever I talk about that and think about me being an author as well, Paul's also an author. Please check out the links in the description below. But I always think about, oh my gosh, all of our videos, me being a content creator, all of my journalism work, my articles, my documentaries. Am I just going to be replaced with an AI version of me?
I really wish I had time to make a digital double of you now, just to plop on the seat. Anyway, start the podcast.
Roll the titles. This is But I'd Never Marry a Blind Woman,
a show where we answer all the questions that you're too afraid to ask about dating, marriage, and finding love with a disability.
I'm Lucy Edwards-Cave, author of my book, Blind Not Broken, out now, presenter and blind wife of...
Me, Ollie Edwards-Cave, her sighted husband, and the man usually behind the camera.
Each week on this podcast, we...
Your fave Interabled couple.
Debunk the stereotypes of dating with a disability, dive behind the inspiration porn headlines, and unpack your relationship dilemmas.
So when people say...
But I'd never marry a blind woman...
You can answer...
Well, I would.
But I'd never marry a blind woman. But I'd never marry a blind woman. Podcast, baby.
Matthew and Paul, welcome to our podcast. We're so happy to have you here today.
Hi, guys.
Hey, thank you for having us. Thank you both so much. We love both of you. We enjoy following along on your adventures. Lucy, I think I saw you with some penguins and you totally stole my heart.
Literally. Oh my gosh, your book as well. It's very
I
on
have
brand.
a book about penguins. Yeah, exactly.
Properly on theme.
I did think that actually, but honestly, guys, IRL, they do smell. You know, I was sitting there thinking, guys, you're very cute, but like this smells very fishy right now. So, but it was amazing. It was so cool. So thank you, and I love you. I adore you guys. Like I saw you guys pop up, and I was like, these are what dreams are made of. So I'd just love to tell everybody about you guys if you've been living under a rock and don't know who Matthew and Paul are. We're going to show a quick clip now of some of their content.
Matthew! What did you do? Matthew! Where are you? Come out right now.
Yes?
What did you do? What is this?
A little redecorating. Well, why oh my God. Are you okay?
This is our new space.
Are you okay? Wow. Oh my God.
I have light detecting cells.
I'm over here.
So,
In your own lovely words, both of you. Don't know who wants to go first. We always love our guests to do a quick audio description of what you look like, your pronouns, and also a bit about what you do. So who wants to go first?
Oh, that's great. Oh, yeah. Okay, I've never done audio description. This is Matthew. This is Matthew speaking.
Yes.
I have dark brown hair today.
He looks like Prince Eric from The Little Mermaid. That's what I've been told.
I love it.
Yeah, I am wearing a gray hoodie. So it's my comfy clothes that I didn't want to change out of. And
Nice.
let's see. Yeah.
But you're looking dapper as ever, I'm sure. Well, I'm Paul. This is Paul talking. And by the way, we used to host a podcast where people could not tell our voices apart, so I apologize in advance. But, right, so I'm Paul, and Matthew, is this blue or black, my shirt? I'm wearing
That's a very dark navy.
Is it?
Yes.
Oh, I thought for sure.
I
it was
love the
black.
specificity.
I love
Specificity.
Ollie needs to put his teeth in, put your dentures in, babe.
Oh my gosh.
Specificity. We can't say that word. Oh my gosh. But love it. Navy. And what about hair colour? Love.
Oh, yeah. I mean, well, what is my hair color,
Like
Matthew?
a medium brown.
It's a medium brown?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought I was blonde, you know?
No, not quite.
Hold on. What are you
Put
doing?
them over the ear.
No. I need one ear free so I can hear my own voice.
Oh.
We're having a tussle over the
But
headphones.
it won't fall off if you put it over the ear.
I love it.
Okay, audio descriptions. We are doing a comedy bit now.
Yeah, because this is what you guys are for. All
Apparently.
about, literally.
Oh gosh, is
You
anybody going to
guys-
see this video? Because
We're-
I look ridiculous.
We're both wearing black headphones
Love.
that is on our left ears and not covering our right ears.
Right, they're
Cool.
so that we can hear our own voices. And then, okay, so I guess I have a medium brown hair. It was blonde at one point, but you know how it happens as you get older. It darkens. And then Matthew's got nice dark hair, so.
Love it. And what do you guys do? Talk to us in your own words about what you do, because it's amazing.
Well, we are full-time content creators now and have been for just over a year. It's
yeah.
just sharing our lives as an interabled couple, which you guys know all about.
Love it.
And the ups and downs of that. And then Paul got a guide dog, so Mr. Maple has been a big part of what we share, life as a guide dog family, Paul being a guide dog owner.
Yeah, we share the ins and outs of that interabled experience and having a guide dog in our lives, but also just sort of the fun moments. Matthew is a big practical joker, so we get to experience a lot of that, those hijinks.
Yeah.
And you know, prior to being able to really become full-time content creators, which is just an amazing opportunity, we're both just when we met, we were just starving artists. You know, I'm an artist. I'm a visual artist, despite having lost over 90% of my vision. And Matthew is a talented musician. He's a violinist.
Ooh.
Which classical violin. He likes to emphasize because he doesn't play the electric violin. No. Classical snob over here.
You know what? I hear that a lot.
Serenade you, love.
Because
Go on,
your
Ollie.
sister plays the saxophone,
She
and she's
does.
like, no, I'm a jazz
saxophonist. Thank you very much.
She's very much not a
So,
classical one.
yeah. Love that, though. Matthew, need the serenading and those dinner dates. Beautiful.
Oh, our
Gorge.
first date. In fact, the way he convinced me to meet him was that he promised to bring his violin and give me a lesson, which was awful because, you know, the violin.
If you were wanting to start with an instrument that sounded good for a beginner.
Ollie
The worst.
Ollie bought a violin that was like £10 from Amazon, and honestly, the screeches that were coming from upstairs, I was like, oh no.
Oh, it's miserable. I have not picked it up for a good while.
Oh, but honestly, talking about your first date though, how did you meet? Talk to us about that, because this podcast is all about our Interabled relationship and also interviewing people who are like us. So talk to us. Give us the deets.
Well, we met online. We were both using dating apps.
All the apps.
I actually lived in Washington State here, which borders Vancouver, Canada.
Mm-hmm.
So I was living on the U.S. side. Paul is Canadian. He was living on the Commonwealth side. And
I've never heard him say it like that. The Commonwealth
we're speaking
side.
to Commonwealth people.
Yeah.
you know?
So the Britishness is
Yeah, there we
here.
go.
I know, yes. British Columbia. And then
So I came across his profile, which was linked to his Instagram. And besides being handsome, I thought, this is fascinating. His claims to be blind, legally blind. Yet he
why do you
has.
say that?
He ran in a marathon.
Love.
He
Love it.
paints beautiful, like large paintings on canvas.
Yeah.
How is he doing this? How is this possible?
Yeah.
So I knew that I needed to like at least start talking to this person and learn about them, because it was a fascinating dilemma presented there. Like, how is all of this working?
Right.
Yeah,
right.
definitely.
That's how I snagged him.
Alluring.
So he slid into the DMs after
Love.
that. And we chatted for a while, a few months actually, before, because I was like, oh, I'm not going to date a person in another country.
Yeah.
I can't drive a car. I'm like, I wouldn't expect them to come up, you know, back and forth, driving across the border, waiting in the lines and such.
Yeah.
And due to the fact of my blindness, of course, I again, I mean, to kind of circle back to the apps, they were so useful for me as somebody with my condition, because meeting somebody at a bar or a club is nearly impossible. So to get to meet somebody through the app, through the dating app, get to kind of like carefully peruse their biographical information and then have chats and everything and get to know them that way was so ideal for me. But when I came across Matthew, I said, absolutely not. I'm not dating a foreigner.
Filthy Americans.
Yes, filthy Americans. Forget it. Meanwhile, he's like only 30 minutes away.
Yeah.
You know, a 30-minute drive. But it was that violin. It was that he was touring with Andrea Bocelli. I don't know if you're aware of
Ooh.
Of
Oh my
course.
gosh.
Oh my
Okay.
gosh, yes.
And he was playing with him, and he sent me a clip of him playing his violin on stage, and he looked so dapper. But it was the music. It was just the sound. It was the glorious, enchanting violin. I've always loved the violin so much.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, just get up here. Come here, bring your violin. Let's do this. And we have been inseparable since that day.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
How many years ago was that? Or
That was 8 years ago.
was it?
That's so cute.
Oh, and what made you
2016.
guys start to want to post online about your relationship? Because it's obviously a very personal thing, but also was it a kind of awareness thing as well to do with your RP?
Well, actually, it started during the pandemic when we were quarantined at home together. And we decided at that point as two artists, we didn't know what to do because we were stuck at home. I couldn't play my violin for live concerts. Paul couldn't show his work in galleries or coffee shops.
Right.
And so we were like, what can we do? And I had all the audio equipment to record with for my violin at home. So we're like, let's do a podcast. Let's start recording in our closet. And then we were like,
Amazing.
we'll just share about our life in general.
Yeah.
It wasn't quite so like Interabled focused at that time. And we knew that we needed
into it.
It played into it.
All the time, but it was really just, what's it like to be husbands in 2020,
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
we knew we needed to kind of advertise the podcast on social media. So we started Instagram and TikTok.
Yeah.
Just in our living room. And,
Nice.
and that was going along fine. And then I think it was a year and a half ago, in October.
October 2022.
for the first time, just randomly, I did a video where I said, my husband is blind, and these are 3 things I do around the house to help him out. And that video took off and got more views really than anything else we'd done. And at that point, I think we realized that the universe was saying, this is unique, really lean into this. And ever since then, we've really focused on sharing our lives as an interabled couple.
Oh, you got to get that branding. Love it.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny looking back on it now because, it was obviously it plays into our lives every day. And yet we weren't really leaning into it on social media so much.
We were doing the most embarrassing, trending dances.
Oh my gosh.
Syncs.
We all had a phase.
Yeah.
So many lip syncs. So many.
Yeah, literally.
And challenges and just awful things. But then when we turned to this other component, the reaction was so strong, and we just we never stopped doing it.
Yeah.
And we found that it's been so incredible, as you mentioned, to use it as a platform of education and get to be entertaining and have fun at the same time, but to really get to educate people about different, abilities.
Yeah, I honestly adore that. And I think that's what the pandemic did. Like, there's so many bad things that happened, but through artists not being able to literally go outside, we're like, hello, could you please see our work? And then suddenly we're all content creators as well. Yes. But I love that. It's so cool. And I adore your books. Ollie, you were looking, weren't you? And
my gosh.
You have this Instagram group, right? With I think it's a little penguin emoji. Did you see that?
Yeah, right.
It's
we have
so
the Penguin
cute.
Press.
Yes.
On Instagram.
So cute. And what kind of, that's to do with your first book, right? Because your second one's just come out, and then you've got a comic as well, right?
You're on top of it, Lucy. Because my condition is progressive and I've lost over 90% of my vision, and even in the course of our relationship, I've gone from 80 to 85 to over 90% vision loss. I'm sort of in a race against time. I'm a very visual person for a blind guy, and my art has always been my passion, so I'm really just using the time I have. I didn't think I would get to continue my art career. I actually hung up my paintbrushes about 3 years ago due to just not being able to do it anymore. Due to vision loss. However, when I discovered a tablet, the illuminated tablet, the zooming in and out features, there's a lot of accessibility options. I was like, I can continue to illustrate. And my dream was always to illustrate children's books, tell stories, eventually want to get into animation.
Oh my gosh.
Producing animation. But that's my ultimate dream. My
Can I
ultimate
say,
goal.
you are talking to the right guy who's sitting next to me. He produces and animates Gucci adverts and everything. So maybe can talk after this. Right?
I'm a visual effects artist by trade.
Amazing.
He did animation at uni, and he because London is the hub of animation. We've just bought him a new computer. Anyway, this is probably a conversation for another day. But
we're talking.
Let's
literally, and everyone's always like, Luz, how can you be with a visual effect artist? It's he is the most gorgeous describer of because he sees things in such detail to paint different people and on movies and everything. I'm like, this is such good audio description.
Oh my gosh. Oh, Lucy, you make such an excellent point. And not to get too off topic here, but Matthew is an incredible storyteller himself, so descriptive. I remember one of our early dates, I asked him randomly to tell me a story, and because I was like, it's nap time, tell me a story. And he launched into this vivid story with all these cast of characters that he was doing voices. I was not expecting this, and it was so charming. I thought, is this creepy or do I love this? And I chose to love it.
Literally,
it sounds beautiful.
It sounds gorgeous. And also, I don't know if you've had this, but there's so many films that aren't audio described, Preach It, you know. But Ollie has audio described
so
the whole 10 seasons of Dexter. Blinking love that show. But to the point where he'd say a really things are splattering everywhere because it's a murder show, and I'd just be falling asleep, and he'd be like, hello, I've just audio described half that, so you are a better person than me. Honestly.
I think the worst example was, do you know the film Downfall? It's the one with the famous Hitler scene where he's going, and everyone puts random subtitles over it.
Is it about the war?
When did it come out?
Years ago. It got turned into a meme, and everyone kind of puts random stuff over Hitler
Anyway, the most important thing about this is that it's not
entirely in German.
It's dubbed. It's like subtitled English.
Oh, okay.
And it's not audio described. So go on, Ollie.
And it's 2 hours long.
Oh my gosh.
So
In addition to reading all the subtitles, I was audio describing like non-stop.
I fell asleep.
It was like I
Ollie!
was turning into Eminem for
Ollie,
those.
you deserve an award.
I know. I'm such a bad
And
wife.
Lucy, how could you let him do that? I would never. If there's a movie that's all we've tried.
What was that? What was that film?
We were watching.
The Korean one.
The Parasite.
Parasite.
Well, that didn't even have that many lines in it.
That yeah, I couldn't. I got out of breath just trying to read
keeps
the
up with
subtitles
that.
for Parasite. They were
I've
talking
learned.
too fast for me.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Doing
literally.
all of that at the same time. That is like spinning plates. I'm impressed.
I feel like Matthew and Ollie, I feel like there's a different part of your brain that you must access being with us that's like, I don't know, Ollie always says that he has to turn on like a different side of him, especially when he's like reading the menu to me at a restaurant. He'll go, blah, 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 blah. It's like literally voiceover on 100%. Like, do you feel, Matthew, like you have had to like draw on different abilities since being in an Interabled relationship?
Oh yeah, there's all kinds of things that I do. Even yesterday, because Paul can find one of my eyes, and so I have learned to be extremely expressive with just one eye.
Oh, that's so cute.
I've realized I can use my eyes. An eye roll, it can be used so
Yeah.
Great
often.
effect.
Or the way you kind of like look to one side and then back. So yeah, definitely. Like that's one of the things we were talking about yesterday. Paul said, "You only do that for me." I'm like, "Yeah, you're the only one that gets the special eye movement."
Yeah, the special
Can I-
eye roll.
The special eye roll.
The special eye roll. I want to throw Matthew under the bus for just a second. This
Go on.
is pretty harmless, but I would say about 4 years ago, he got talked into doing a little bit of Botox around his eyes.
Cute. Say it,
And-
preach it.
Okay, but I told him, never, ever can you do that again. His
Oh.
eyes stopped emoting. And I looked to his eye for all the emotion, and it was gone. It was dead. So I said, and he doesn't touch
Matthew,
it.
no
since.
more Botox.
No more
None.
I've never done it since, and Paul appreciates all the crinkles.
I love
You
the
go.
crinkle.
You
He
gotta
needs
love
it.
the
It tells him
crinkles.
what's happening.
Yeah.
I love that. Literally. There's a part of me though with my Botox that I'm like, oh my gosh, I haven't seen it because I'm a total. Like I haven't seen
Yeah.
in the mirror for like 11 years. So I'm like, I need to freeze my I don't know, my looks. But I think it is also for pain management as well for me. But anyway.
You say that. It was entirely for
It's
vanity.
for vanity first, okay? It's vanity first. Then it turned into pain management.
It just so happened there was a side effect.
Exposed Oliver Edwards' cave. Anyway, so
Lucy, can I interject a second? Because I
Go on.
love what you just said. I've never heard it used when you said I'm a total.
oh yeah, I'm a total.
No, yeah. You're a total everything, I'm sure.
Literally. You
But
got
I mean, that of course in our community is shorthand for you totally blind, completely
Yes.
blind.
Yeah, completely.
Because as you know, and we're working very hard to educate the world that blindness is indeed a spectrum.
Spectrum, definitely.
Yeah. And
I
like
love that.
Yeah, but I love that you call yourself a total.
Oh, I love it, yeah.
Yeah, no, I think that's great, and I think there should be those distinctions within the community, and we need to kind of let people understand that blindness doesn't always mean totally blind, and
Literally.
sometimes it does. And
Yeah.
it's
Honestly, I
difficult
think-
to get that point across.
I think so too, and I think people find it very abstract when we all say I'm blind and X, Y, or Z. I think it's really interesting to like deep dive into like our videos, but also Molly's and yours, and just see the spectrum of blindness that we all have. And I think there's so many TikTok creators now out there, and Blind Talk is like real and alive and kicking, and it's just we haven't had that sort of representation before. But I think it's really easy to be like, oh, I'm shutting my eyes and that's blindness, but it's so much deeper. So thank you for pointing that. Go on,
It's
Ollie.
actually quite interesting because one of our most popular videos that we have is we did an event with like loads of kids for
Oh yeah,
guide dogs in the
volunteered for
UK.
guide dogs in the UK,
and we got them to all describe what sight they have and how it affects it.
and how it affects them.
And everyone in the comments is just like, whoa, I did not know that I thought it was either like you're on or you're off.
Yeah,
You're
and,
right.
it's one of our most viral videos on YouTube, and I think that
I love it.
You know, I think that's amazing. So,
we're gonna check that out. Thank you.
do it. And okay, so let's talk about Mr. Maple, because I think guide dogs are just gorgeous.
Yeah.
And how has he changed your life, and how has he like inserted himself into your guys' relationship in a cute way?
Oh my goodness. I mean, he's definitely changed our life in so many unexpected ways. I don't think either of us were prepared for how much it would make us feel like a total family, the three of us, you know? But I mean, me personally, the independence was just such a huge leap for me, because I'd been using previously, prior to Mr. Maple coming into my life, I was using a white cane for about 8 years. And, you know, I even resisted getting the cane. I was diagnosed with retinitis pigmentosa when I was 16 years old and learning how to drive a car. It went very terribly.
That story, I watched your video on that, and oh my gosh, that sounds terrifying.
Oh, yeah, it was.
Terrifying.
It was terrifying.
At least you didn't find out in the plane.
Oh, I know.
Oh my
yes.
gosh! Yeah. Oh, you said you flew a plane.
I flew a plane when I was 15 years old.
So
I know.
cool.
It's
I
a
did
good
that.
thing those things fly themselves. Did you?
Literally, yeah, but completely total. And
For the record, Lucy almost killed us.
I did, yeah. But, no, I had there was a pilot assisting me. Anyway,
Yes.
This is about you, Paul. But I think I think Mr. Maple and Miss Molly, who's sitting at my feet, and also retired guide dog Olga, like they are just the most gorgeous, beautiful things, and you don't realize how much you need them until you're holding onto that harness, right?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Because like I said, I was using a cane, and you know, we live in downtown Seattle. It's a busy metropolitan city here in Washington State, and I was afraid to leave the house on my own with my cane.
Yeah.
I really was, because there's just so many obstacles. There's so many scooters. I don't know if you have scooters over there in London.
Oh, yeah.
The
You do?
electric ones that are just
Yes,
all over.
yes.
They're so silent. Like,
They're
can
so
someone put a
quiet.
beep on those things?
They should, yeah.
And they leave them. They just like drop
Leave
them
them.
wherever they last were. It's like they were
Literally.
raptured and all.
Yeah. Literally. It's so annoying.
That was, I mean, that's when I was really inspired to apply for a guide dog, because I was like, well, this, you know, the cane wasn't really giving me enough confidence at that moment. And I would wait for Matthew to get home from work, or wait for him to be, home to do errands, and I was just otherwise isolating, which is just very scary, because when you're losing your vision, it's so easy to isolate.
Yeah,
Right?
I agree.
So that's when Mr. Maple really changed all that for me. So he gives me the confidence, and I love leaving the house now with him.
Did you get your lovely doggy from an American like Seeing Dog Foundation or a
Yes.
Canadian? Yes, okay, got you. 'Cause
Yes.
I know
Well, I've made the leap. I'm now a dual citizen. Matthew and I are married, and I became an American citizen last year. Had to take the test and everything.
Cute, love. Did they make it accessible? Like, talk to us about that. Did they provide it in good format?
Oh yeah, no, they did actually. Before the test, they sent an email that gave us the opportunity to put in like that I'm blind and I need the accessibility options, but all the questions were just verbally asked.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so
nice.
you just sit there and they ask you the questions. And
I quizzed Paul every day in the weeks leading up.
Yeah.
He got
Did you?
20 questions a day of the 100.
100
Nice.
questions to
Yeah.
memorize.
He aced them all.
And now I know more about American history than any American, I swear.
Definitely more than
gonna
me.
say, yeah, I was gonna say they always say with those tests, like I don't know whether I could answer exactly the same with British
seeing the ones
ones.
that I've seen people do on YouTube, like
for Britain.
I would not pass.
No, I
my-
wouldn't
No, I know.
Too much
it's so
medieval
funny.
history.
Yeah, it's a lot of medieval history. I'm not
Really?
understanding. Yeah, loads of
they
medieval
really quiz
history.
you on it.
Oh dear, yeah,
Amazing.
literally. What is your most embarrassing date story? Have you got one?
Matthew?
Our most American-
Oh, like between us?
Between both of you, have you got like an
Oh.
embarrassing moment or something that you were worried about, Paul, maybe before you met for the first time? Like, I remember being in Pizza Hut and just being like, oh my gosh, I'm so glad we're having pizza, because I would literally have sauce all over my face and Ollie would see it. And I don't know how to get to the toilet and what's going on. So yeah, was there any moments like that?
It's so interesting. I mean, I have stories, but they're all kind of like, they're so sweet and romantic, because like Matthew was like the first person I'd ever met who showed such genuine interest in retinitis pigmentosa, what was going on, how he could accommodate what sort of adaptive tools I needed. Like, he's on it more than I am. He was figuring out things that, like, no one in my family had even asked me. He's like, oh, you need high contrast.
Yeah.
So he's like, when we were looking for a gym to go to together, he was like, we would go look at a gym. He's like, no, everything's gray. The floors are gray. Everything, you're gonna hurt yourself.
It's gray on gray on gray. You're not gonna see a thing. Actually, on our first date, we decided to go after the violin lesson, and then he gave me a little painting lesson. We decided to go for a walk along the beach. And so
cringe,
we
right?
Love it.
That sounds like the cutest date
Cutest date ever.
Yeah. So we were getting out of the car, and Paul said, should I take my cane? Or I'm going to take my cane. I think he said, I'm going to bring my cane. And I said, oh, no, I'm happy to guide you. Just grab on. Really a very selfish and, had ulterior motives.
To hold his hand.
If this guy didn't have his cane, he'd have to hold on to me, and I wasn't going to complain about that. So
nice.
So that was fun. That worked. That worked out very well.
Smooth
and so
move.
I got to hold his hand, and he was clutching onto my arm, and that was
At one point, though, he took me on the most treacherous route. No. I thought it was we were going over rocks. There was a log. We had to walk across a log over water.
Yeah.
I don't even know how high up in the air we were. He was just like, hold my hand. It was like immediate. I'd only known this guy for a few hours, and it was like we were doing trust exercises in the wild.
Literally, that can be so scary when you meet someone new. So you must have thought
also
instant
beach
connection.
rocks.
Beach rocks.
They are hard.
I think we got those probably a year in, right? That's when I trusted you.
Yeah,
Bless
but
you
we've
guys.
done them recently, and they're like, you almost like
go arse over tit, yeah. So funny.
But I did. It's funny that you mentioned that, because I remember just in my heart, I can remember that moment so clearly. I remember holding his hand and walking across this log, and I was like, I trust this guy. I was like, if I fall, he's gonna fall. We're gonna go in together.
Oh, that's so cute.
yeah, grip that hand extra hard.
Extra tight. How do you guys feel about the word interabled? Because I know like a lot of the community kind of is split on it. I know that one of my besties who I used to be colleagues with him. I met him at the BBC, and then now he writes like for arts and entertainment. And he did I don't know if you know Shane and Hannah, Squirmy and Grubs, the creators on YouTube. Yeah, Alex spoke to them, and they did an article all about how they use the word interabled in their content. And obviously, as content creators, it's an amazing hashtag.
Yes.
But do you like it? How do you feel about it?
Well, let's see. Matthew here. I like it. But I like to explain, or we like to explain how it's a great way to simply define us in a single word, but it also is relatable to everyone.
Yeah.
Every relationship is interabled. Even, you have different levels of ability emotionally, mentally.
Yeah.
Everyone is making accommodations for each other. And in fact, that's what I think draws people to interabled relationships, because it's so visible. We have such a visible interabledness, yet everyone can relate. Everyone is like, in my relationship, I make accommodations. My partner makes accommodations for me. So I like it, and then I like how really we can apply it to everyone.
Yeah, I love that. That's so eloquent. That is gorgeous.
That's a beautiful.
That was so gorgeous.
I see what you mean about Matthew's ability to storytell.
Right?
You got me in the feels. Okay, that was amazing.
I cannot add to that. That was perfect.
Yeah, literally. Go on then, darling.
Am I the asshole for applying for a guide dog against my girlfriend's wishes?
Ooh.
I, 27 female, am experiencing vision loss. I am not totally blind yet, but it will happen eventually. My girlfriend, also 27F, doesn't like dogs much. There's no allergy or anything there. She's not afraid of them. She just doesn't like them. I am struggling in my day-to-day life, and no guide dog would help me, and my GP has advised I apply for one. My girlfriend and I don't live together yet, but we have discussed it. She didn't want me to apply for the guide dog, as she didn't want to live with a dog, saying I could learn to make do with just the long cane. I could probably learn eventually, Yes, and will likely get one too, but a guide dog would be much easier for me, especially as I'm transitioning. This is not a pet, so I do not think it is the same as just getting a dog just because I want one. I ended up applying for a guide dog anyway, and I'm waiting on approval, and she is angry with me. I understand she doesn't want a dog, but as we're not living together yet, and also a thing I need for my day-to-day life, I didn't feel like I did anything wrong by following my GP's advice.
GP is, I think,
General
equivalent.
practitioner.
General practitioner.
Yeah, equivalent of family medicine doctor, I think. Yeah. But yeah,
And
what
they're
do you
not
guys
even
think?
living together yet.
Yeah.
No,
They're
they're
not even living. I was like, well, wait a second.
I know.
I mean, I don't think under any circumstances the sighted partner should have this final say. It would be like you telling me whether I can get a car or not.
Right. That's so
Literally.
interesting. I mean, I really don't. Okay, I have a couple feelings here. Obviously, the person applying for the guide dog is in the right. You know, this is going to help their lives. I wish I could talk to their partner and tell them this is not going to be like any dog you've ever encountered.
Yeah.
One. Okay, this is going to be the most incredible dog to ever exist. You'll be so grateful that it's in your life. And moreover, you're going to be so grateful in what you see it do for your partner, because it's going to change their life and make them more confident and open up a lot of doors, both figuratively and literally.
Yeah, definitely.
So, yeah, I mean,
I think my mouth just like dropped open. Like, I would be so sassy. I'd be like, no, honey, you are not telling me whether I'm getting a dog or not. I'm so sorry. But equally, what do you guys think in terms of, you know, would you be able to like move through this? It depends on the person's journey with their sight loss. Like if they've just lost their vision, maybe they can't articulate properly in their own mind, let alone to someone else, about why they need it and how, you know, this is going to help them. And I think, you know, you go through stages of grief when losing your vision, and I think sometimes they could be really angry and it could break them up. But it's like, I don't know whether, you know, when we say Ollie and Matthew, they have such a gorgeous, just innate understanding of like what we go through, even though they haven't got the lived experience. Like, I think it does take a person to try to understand that, and I just don't know if this person is. I don't know.
Yeah, because I was so fortunate, Paul here, to have the opposite experience, because it was actually Matthew who was like, you know, so early on was like, you know, we both love dogs, and I grew up with dogs, and I said we should, you know, one day I did say, I was like, we should get a dog, and he said, you know, when we get a dog, it should be your guide dog, like, and I want it to be,
That's so
I want
sweet.
you to have that, and when you're ready, let's do that. And so that was just him being supportive and knowing that it was going to help and enhance my life in so many ways. Did you have a guide dog?
So this
you
is
guys
really, no, I didn't. So it's really interesting. Me and Ollie met when I was 16, and I lost my vision
When you were 17?
When I was 17. So I knew Ollie for about 6 months, and I've even seen his face, but now I'm a total. Yeah. So basically what happened was I applied for a guide dog, and Ollie wasn't obviously living with me, but he was at university, college, I think you guys call it.
I don't think I was. I think I was still in sixth form, which
Oh,
would
were
have been
you
your
in sixth
guys'
form?
high school.
I don't know what you guys call that, but basically he was
18.
like, he was 17, 18, and I got Olga, and he was not a dog fan, were you? But you didn't tell me
like,
that.
I was very much a cat person.
Yeah.
I hated dogs.
You did?
all the time. I was like,
Honestly though, guys,
I was like,
when
they
I
are
tell
little
you,
who just jump at you and like
you
bark.
do, it's
And
because the only dogs he's ever encountered are ones that are a bit, you know, yappy and stuff. When you said like a guide dog is like no other dog you've encountered, and Ollie knew that when I got Olga, he instantly was like, I adore that dog. Yeah. Like he looked at her, the first time he ever looked at her, he was like, oh my gosh, they're your eyes. Like she is your eyes. Like, and now he loves dogs more than cats. He's allergic to cats, and he's like, I'm never getting a cat.
He's converted.
Yeah, you know, I definitely think it's a red flag that the girlfriend is having these issues so early.
Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
I would be cautious or wary moving forward.
In a way, I would almost, like you said red flag, Matthew, it almost feels like this partner might be wanting to hold them back so that they're not as independent. They might even be afraid of losing them to independence a little bit. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Which is not a good and healthy
that's so true.
situation.
Yeah, that is very insightful.
Because it's like, can't you just use your long white cane? And it's like, you do not have that, ability to tell me that I can or can't use different whatever mobility aid I want to.
But it also, like as Paul just said, it is just that it could be that it's a way of controlling, making them dependent.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna put it out that this is a deal breaker now. This is a deal breaker.
Yeah. No, I agree.
You know what? I agree.
I
like,
agree
if
with
you
you.
can't support someone in their independence and their journey going through this, like, how are you going to support them when they go through, like, if they're in the process of losing this, like, you're going to go through, if it's anything like Lucy's journey, a lot.
Yeah, definitely.
The whole, like, coming to terms with it, learning how to read again, learning how to
navigate
become
the
independent.
world again. Yeah.
Like,
and then it's
cooking,
also like
all of these things.
And then past that, it's like, how are you going to navigate like having kids if you want that, or having a family, or having like extra pets, or like you need to be able to go through things in life and then, be able to depend on each other. Like, come on. So I totally agree with you guys. I think red flag, and you're not the arsehole.
Yeah.
You need to get a guide dog.
Get the guide
Get
dog.
the guide dog.
Do
Get
it.
it now.
Get rid of the girlfriend.
Literally. Guide dogs are cuter anyway.
Yeah,
Yes,
that's
they are.
Oh, that's so cute. And just FYI, Miss retired guide dog Olga doesn't swim either. I've heard Mr. Maple doesn't swim.
Oh, okay.
Or does-
Maple's
or
in
does
good
he swim?
company. No, well, we took him for his first swimming lesson, just to make sure that he could, because we had heard. Of course, I assumed all labs know how to swim instinctively, but a friend of ours had a lab that fell into a lake and sunk to the bottom. They rescued it. They jumped in
thank
after
goodness.
it, and it was okay. But then
Maple can swim,
Yeah.
but he retains his absolute abhorrence of water.
yeah.
That's so like Olga. Like, she will maybe stick her paws in, but apart
And
from
go, no, darling, I do not want. She's a bit of distaste. Like, no, she's very regal.
Maple will leap across puddles while guiding and force Paul.
I've looked. I'm sure I've been the amusement of many people waiting at a red light as Maple leaps over a puddle and takes me with him unexpectedly.
You know what? At least Maple makes you leap over that puddle, because
Molly just walks me straight through it, Miss
Yeah.
Moles.
and Olga would walk round it herself. She was the prettiest dog.
Yeah, she
still
just
is.
let me walk in it. I'm like, babe, I've got like sparkly heels
she
on
will
here.
avoid dog
like,
poo. She will avoid anything, but she will happily walk you through it.
So funny.
Wow.
So funny. Oh, guys, thank you so much for chatting to us today. You are legends. It's been a pleasure. So thank
it's
you
been
so
so
much.
fun.
This is it. We're done.
This
Yeah,
was
we
so
are
much
done.
fun. The time flew.
Yeah.
So, for our audience, where can they find you guys?
Yes, of course. Talk to us about your handles.
Yeah, we are Matthew and Paul on Instagram, TikTok, and Snapchat, and then Matthew and Paul Official on YouTube and Facebook.
Love it.
Love it.
And that's Matthew with 2 T's. I know there's another Matthew and Paul out there with a single T. So
Oh my
we
gosh.
do like to say
Cool.
it's not us. But I did mention briefly my books. I've put
Yes,
out
please,
2 books,
please.
and the 3rd book is coming out this summer, and you can find all of that on my website, which is paulcastlestudio.com. And we also have plushies on there, penguin plushies.
Oh my gosh.
we
need to
designed.
They don't stink.
And they don't
Good,
stink.
good. I'm excited. I want to get one, Ollie,
Oh my
for our
gosh.
sofa. That would be so
We
cute.
should so do it.
Yeah, but all their links will be in
We'll
the show
send you
notes,
one.
guys. Oh,
Of course.
cute. All right, loves. Speak to you soon.
Speak to you soon. Bye.
Bye. Bye.